Now, let's look at some serious acceptance-based programming that we receive from the time that we are born. I don't know about you, but after all of these years of watching TV and reading advertisements and all of the messages that I got were pretty clear. That to be popular and accepted by my peers, I had to be a size 6, wear Dolce & Gabbana, carry a Gucci purse, smell like Obsession, drive a Lexus, go to a great school, graduate, be successful, get married, have 2 kids, and be as competent in the bed as in the kitchen. If you do all these things, you too can be happy. That's what I call conditional happiness. Conditional happiness relies on artificial, often unattainable results or conditions. If I was smarter, thinner, richer, funnier, or married to somebody who was, I would be happy. If I could move into a bigger house, I would have so much more room and I would be so much happier. After a few years later, my God, if I could just get rid of this money pit, I could travel and I'd be so much happier. If I could just have a baby, the bundle of joy would make me so much happier. A few years later, you know what, my child graduates from high school, I'm going to have so much time on my hands, and I could finally finish that degree and I'd be so much happier. A gentleman might say, God, I'd like to meet the hot babe across the room. She would make me happy. A few years later, I can't get this egomaniac out of my life. Isn't it funny that happiness is always a future event? You know, it's like a condition that has to be met before you can be happy. It's always a little outside of your grasp, isn't it? Authentic happiness, true happiness. By the way, this is not what the ancient philosophers meant when they talked about happiness, the conditional happiness that we have today. True happiness, authentic happiness, what I call cognitive happiness, is living in positivity in the present, past, and future, all free of cognitive distortions, knowing and living to your character strengths, and you can't do that unless you live without cognitive distortions, and finding your purpose and meaning in life. Do you recognize this? This is the 3 pillars of positive psychology that I talked about in my opening statement. So the third category of negative beliefs is control. Negative control belief programming comes from the fear of losing power. If your father was in the military, he was trained not to question authority and probably passed on that programming to you. If your mother was of Asian descent, as mine was, she lived in fear of losing control over your free will, because if you didn't do what she said, you were going to end up in a van down by the river. The church. Without the threat of eternal damnation, the church fears losing you as a responsible, giving person. Again, it's easy to see how the false belief of the need to control can create some or all of the 10 cognitive distortions. Now, this graph shows 6 programmed beliefs. There are hundreds of programmed beliefs in our lives, and I just chose 6 of them. I'm not smart enough. I have to work really, really hard. Over here goes to achievement-based negative belief. People are always judging me. I don't belong anywhere. Goes to the acceptance-based belief. I know what is best, and I really need to know. I need to know everything. Goes with control. And these 3 negative beliefs cause one or all of the cognitive distortions. Now, what's missing from this slide, because the room's not big enough, I need a box here. I need a huge box here next to the cognitive distortions, because cognitive distortions cause negative emotions. Well, there's 350 negative emotions, everybody. Remember 558 emotions compiled by James Averill? Well, 62% of them are negative and 38% of them are positive. So there's about 350 negative emotions, which makes sense because you know we're drawn more to negative information than positive information. That's why the media keeps giving us more negative information, 6 to 9 times more than positive information. So we're kind of screwed, you know, because we're looking at this all the time. Remember the Jomack ladder? You have to go up the Jomack ladder for a flourishing, authentic life. The cognitive distortions go on to create negative thoughts that create negative emotions. So what are negative emotions? What are they? You bet. They snuff out your zest and enthusiasm for life. It kills your passion for life. It's nasty.